It's the best card of the year. I'm going to give you the best bets for UFC Vegas 98. Can't wait for UFC Vegas 100. It's going to be a legendary card. I went through, I got all my bets in for tomorrow's card, and I picked just a few to share with you. Okay, on this card, I got a bunch of plus money. I didn't really trust a ton of the favorites. We'll see how that goes. I think I got 3 money line bets, all plus money. A bunch of props, all big plus money. And I got some over-unders, some goes to decision, doesn't go to decision at plus money. A lot of plus money. I'm a plus money hunter. So all those bets are in the Homo Fight Picks Winnable. I will show you where you can join that throughout the video. But this is the best bet show, and I'm going to give you the best bets. But before we do that, let's take a look at last week. We got screwed. We got screwed on the Pennington parlay. So that was an L. We got screwed on Kevin Holland's rib injury. That's an L. But we did pick up a win on Joaquin Buckley, KO or decision. Overall, it was a loss. We're on a little losing streak on the Best Bet show. So keep that in mind. But as always, I'm giving you bets that I think are going to hit. Or at least that I think have value. Okay? I got 3 bets for you. I got daily fantasy plays for you. Last week, or Tuesday, I guess. Tuesday on Contender Series, we swept on the daily fantasy plays. So we're on a little bit of a rough patch on the daily fantasy, but swept on Tuesday. I'm hoping that turns things around and we make a ton of money on this card. Historically, when I sweep, it's usually on Apex cards. So keep that in mind. Let's get into it. I got a parlay for you. We're going over 2.5 rounds on both of these fights here. Palastri versus McKenna. Women's overs. Love it. Park and Tavares. Over. Love it. Because neither of these guys are big finishers. And if you look at Park's finishes, they're against super low-level competition. Brad Tavares is not a Joseph Holmes. Okay? He's not a Dennis Talulin. If he gets taken to the ground, I don't think he's going to get submitted. And on the feet, I don't think Park has like big KO capabilities. I don't think Tavares has big KO capabilities. I think the fight probably goes to a decision like that over. Palastri, McKenna. McKenna got submitted her last time out, but that's against Amarim. Amarim submits like pretty much anybody in the first round if you let her get it there. Dumb move by McKenna. In all reality, I think this is a back and forth type of fight going into the third round. Whoever wins it in the third round takes it. But I do think the fight goes over 2.5 rounds, probably goes to a decision. That's minus 143 odds there. I'm throwing 2 units on it. And if you follow me on IG or on X, fights have been going to a decision at a pretty alarming rate, 60% since the new gloves have been introduced. So, yeah, I feel pretty good about taking some overs. Let's just hope we don't get screwed on something here. But minus 143, 2 units, I like it. Nice little parlay to boost the bankroll. Let's get into the Underdog fantasy plays. As you can see on the screen, we've had some success on this app. It has been a little bit shaky lately, but overall on the year, plus 46.52 units. And as I mentioned before, we swept the daily fantasy plays on Tuesday. Love that. And actually, if you look at UFC 307, we should have had 3 wins, but 2 of them got taken away by stat corrections. I don't know what's going on with these stat corrections, but I honestly feel like they're targeting every one of my plays because it goes from a winner to a loser, and it's all because of these stat corrections that they're just pulling out of their ass. Whatever. We're going to still make the right plays, and we're going to cash in. So if you're in one of these highlighted states, you're eligible to play. There's a link down in the description to join. Use my code HeyJive. You'll get a deposit bonus up to $1,000, which basically means you can put these plays in for free. If you're a new user, you get that deposit bonus, and you can put these plays in. And as I mentioned, the 5-leggers, I think I've hit 3 of them this year. I think 2 of them have been on Apex cards. I don't know what's in the water on Apex cards, but it seems like the 5-leggers do be smacking on Apex cards. So it's a 20x payout. So realistically, there's less than 50 UFC cards in a year. I've already hit 3, so we're in the profit on these 5-leggers. You hit 3, you're positive 20x. 3 times 20, that's 60. So we're in the positive on 5-leggers. We don't even need to hit another one on the year. But I feel pretty good about this one, honestly. Palastri, higher on significant strikes. She's a volume puncher, and she can rack up 50 in a round. If it's on the feet, she can rack up 50 in a round. I like it there. Argueta, lower on strikes. He's a wrestler. He's going to look for takedowns. Haddon's not the easiest guy to hit, honestly, because he keeps his range pretty well. And I think the fight could actually finish pretty early with a submission or KO. Doesn't really matter. But I think Argueta is not going to be looking to strike. He's going to be looking for takedowns. Grapplers, under on significant strikes. I love that. Nico Price, lower on significant strikes. If you look at him historically, he's not a huge high-volume guy. But when he's against these guys where the fight tends to go to a decision, then he starts to rack them up. I don't know that Temba Garimbo is going to stand and strike with him. And honestly, I think if he does stand and strike with him, I think he could put him out. But overall, Garimbo, I think he gets hit with like one significant strike per minute. If this fight goes 15 minutes, his average is 15 significant strikes for a whole fight. I'm willing to take the under here on Price, okay? Because Garimbo's a grappler. That's his base. And he's been in the clinch a ton. You look at his statistics, he spends a lot of time in the clinch, a lot of time on the ground. So if he goes there, Price isn't going to be racking up a ton. Jonathan Pierce, lower on significant strikes. Pat Sabatini, never been hit, I don't think, more than 20 times in a fight. So he's a grappler. I think this is going to be a grapple fest. I don't see a ton of striking in this one. Give me Pierce lower on significant strikes. Daniel Rodriguez higher on significant strikes. The dude averages like 100, I think it's 118 significant strikes when his fights go to a decision. This fight is favored to go to a decision. I think he can rack up 100 plus. 77.5, I'm willing to take it there. That's a nice little 5-legger 20x payout. And then we got a couple of these picks spread out throughout here, but 3x payout here. Palastri strikes, we already talked about that. Jared Gooden, higher on significant strikes. He's gone over that in every single one of his UFC fights, except for the one fight that he knocked the dude out in the first round. I don't know that he's going to knock out Chidi in the first round, but I do trust his durability overall to take this fight into the second round, into the third. And I do think he gets over 40. I think he got 45 in the first round against Carlson Harris. He's a high volume guy. So I think this number is a little bit low, and I think he can go over. Morono, higher on significant strikes. He's a pretty high volume guy too. And when his fights go to decision, I think he averages about 88 off the top of my head. I did the math before, but off the top of my head, it's over 80. And I think D-Rod gets hit with over 5 significant strikes per minute. Morono should be able to get 80 or so if this fight does go 3 rounds, which I think it will. Price, we already talked about that. And then this is a correlated play. So if Dan Argueta is getting over 2 takedowns, the odds of Cody Haddon going lower on significant strikes increases pretty clearly. Because if Argueta's grappling him up, Haddon's not landing strikes. This is something I've been monitoring. The correlation with the takedowns to significant strikes when it comes to a guy going higher on takedowns, the other guy going lower. And last week, monitored it a little bit, and we should have hit the correlated play on Thompson and Buckley, but they stack corrected me. There's the L. There's another one, Lucindo and Rodriguez, however you say it. Lucindo went over on takedowns. Rodriguez went under on significant strikes. I think we could see a nice little correlated payout here on Haddon lower on significant strikes and Daniel Argueta higher on takedowns. Even if he gets 2 and it's a push, we get our money back. But I do think he probably racks up a couple in the first round, honestly, just because he's a very strong wrestler and that's his base. So, yeah, put these plays in. Link down in the description below on Underdog if you're in one of these highlighted states. This green right here, the champions, just means it's peer-to-peer. It's pretty much the same thing. The classic is where they'll pay you out, but peer-to-peer, sometimes the payouts are like tiny bit less, but a lot of times they're actually a lot more than the actual 3X. Because I had one on Tuesday. I put 150, a 3X payout would have been 450, but I got paid out 500. So peer-to-peer, sometimes the payouts are a little tiny bit less, like $5, $10, but sometimes they're a lot more. So there's a benefit there. So green states, yellow states, you're eligible to play. Download the app. Use the code HI for a deposit bonus up to $1,000. And I feel good about these plays. We'll talk about better picks later. Round prop bet. Fight no distance here in the Cody Haddon versus Daniel Argueta fight. It's plus money, which I love. I love me some plus money. Plus 110, I'm putting 1 unit on it. Okay? And I'll tell you why I'm only putting 1 unit on it later. But I like this fight not to hit the scorecards. Cody Haddon, he's only been in one decision in his entire career. That was against Steve Erceg. Steve Erceg, I think, is a lot better than Daniel Argueta as far as grappling, submission grappling. As far as his stand-up goes, I think Cody Haddon could knock out Daniel Argueta if it does play out on the feet, just because I don't think Dan Argueta's striking is that good. I think he's very hittable. On the ground, Dan Argueta could definitely lock up a submission. The dude is dangerous in the first round, and he gets into positions where he could end the fight. Later in the fight, when Daniel Argueta starts to slow down with his wrestling, there's going to be a ton of opportunities for Cody Haddon to lock up a submission, where we just saw Dan Argueta sort of gas out in his last fight and get submitted with the second left in the second round against Matsumoto. And I think Cody Haddon has very, very solid jiu-jitsu where he could end the fight on the ground. So I think there's a lot of paths for this to hit. Fight no distance here on Cody Haddon versus Argueta. Plus money at plus 110. I'm all about it. 1 unit. Lock it in. All right. If you want all the bets, jump in the Home of Fight Picks Winnable. You get the UFC, PFL, Dana White's Contender Series. Contender Series is on Tuesday. We got one more week left. PFL next week is a big card. And we got UFC this Saturday, the Saturday after, the Saturday after, the Saturday after. So a lot of MMA going on. Year to date, sportsbook bets. So as far as like straight bets, parlays, props, all that, we're positive 35.07 units year to date. Daily fantasy, we're positive 45.52 units year to date. So in total, we're over 80 units in profit. So that is something we're trying to get to 100 units. That would be amazing. But it's picking it up here, okay? Join the Home of Fight Picks Winnable today. There's a link down in the description for that. That's where you get all of my UFC bets, all my PFL bets, all my Dana White Contender Series bets sent directly to your phone. As soon as I put a play in, I post it to the Winnable. You get a text on your phone. You click the link. It'll show you what the pick is, and then you can put it in so you don't miss out on anything. That is a very, very important thing for daily fantasy because daily fantasy lines tend to move pretty quickly, especially when I put them out, okay? Especially when I put them out, they tend to move very quickly. So it's a very important thing to get on the Winnable so you get those texted to your phone instantly and you can put them in before the lines move. Prop bet. We already talked about it a little bit. I think the Cody Haddon sub is so live here. It's so live. I actually cashed on Cody Haddon to win by submission on the Dana White Contender Series at the same number. Plus 700. Plus 700 odds. Actually, I think I got it plus 750. I think I messed up here. I think I got it at plus 750. But either way, at plus 700, I'm all about it. I cashed that plus 700 on the Contender Series for him to win by sub. He got it done in the first round, knocked him down, and then basically a club and sub. There's just going to be so many opportunities for Argueta to be slowing down, to shoot sloppy takedowns, to get his back taken from a missed takedown. And Cody Haddon, he's won his last 2 fights by submission. I think the guy is solid on the ground. There's just going to be so many opportunities in this fight for this play to hit that the odds shouldn't be where they are. I think it should be down to like plus 350, plus 400. Considering that Cody Haddon is the favorite to win this fight, for him to win by submission at plus 750, I'm all about it. Putting 0.2 units on it. You know, when these numbers are super big, I don't go too heavy just because the number is big and it is a long shot. And I don't really give these long shots here on the Best Bet Show, but I do love it. Plus 750, 0.2 units. So if we win, we're returning, 1.5 units? I'm about it, bro. I'm about it. Cody Haddon sub, lock it in. Now we'll talk about the Betr Picks Plays. Another daily fantasy app. If you're in one of these purple states, you're eligible to play. Use my code HeyJav for a deposit bonus up to $250 on Betr Picks. There's a link down in the description for that. Right here. I talked about the Apex cards, cashing out on these long shots. This was an Apex card. $50 into $2,500. That's a 50x multiplier. And the success on Betr Picks has been great as well. All right. Let's take a look at the plays. 100x payout here. Garimbo knockout, Jared Gooden finish. I like that Jared Gooden finish. I like the Garimbo knockout because if he goes for it, I think he puts Nico Price out. Nico Price has been knocked out many, many times. Pilastri over. We already talked about that. Argueta under. Pat Sabatini, lower on significant strikes. I think he's only gone over this once. Maybe never. But he's not a high-volume guy. He's not going to be out there throwing on the feet. He wants to get the fight to the ground, as I mentioned before with the Jonathan Pierce play. I think this is a grapple match, and somebody could be getting finished as well. D-Rod over, we already talked about that. I love the D-Rod number at 72.5. I just can't get enough. I can't get enough because he should get over 100 plus. D-Rod higher than 72 or more than 72.5 there. Pierce, we already talked about it. Grant Dawson, lower than 50.5. Another grappler where I'm going to take the lower on significant strikes because he's going to look to take the fight to the ground. Yes, you can land significant strikes from ground and pound, but they don't really count them that often. You really got to land something big for them to count ground and pound as far as significant strikes. And I think Grant Dawson's gone under this in all but 3 UFC fights. So I like that number there. I do think he could find a finish as well. So under 50.5 significant strikes there. And we already talked about these. Argueta, Rodriguez, and Sabatini. So these are 3x plays here on the right. 100x play right there. We usually do 8-leggers, but I'm about the 6-legger this week for 100x. A couple boosted plays that I feel pretty good about. Once again, link down in the description on Betr Picks. If you're in one of these purple states, use the code HI for a deposit bonus up to $250. You can start cashing in some plays with me. Lastly, I will offer you to join the free Telegram channel. There's a link down in the description as well to join here. It's free. You get to see how much money I lose on NFL. I actually just joined the Diamond Club on Hard Rock Bet because I've been losing so much money in the NFL. I just can't help myself. But on the UFC is my game. I just bet NFL because I like to do it. But UFC, I put in some free plays there for UFC, for Contender Series. I'll always let you guys know when we're running free trials on the Homo Fight Picks winnable as well. So a nice little place for you to get some free plays in there. Absolutely free. Join the free Telegram. You can stay up to date with everything. That's it. I appreciate y'all. I didn't die in the hurricane. We didn't even really feel it here. So that's good. Sucks. I don't want to say it sucks, but I feel bad for the people that actually got hit by the hurricane. Where I'm at, we didn't really feel it. So we're good there. Baby should be coming next week, so I'll keep you guys up to date as far as the content coming out. But I appreciate you for watching. Like, subscribe if you enjoyed. Let me know your bets down in the comments. Till next time, hey, Jai Picks.